Hey guys, welcome to the Cash Flow Talk, Deal Makers. I am so excited today to have Erika Abraham. She is in India, and this is a person that I've been in touch with for the past couple years. She's the founder of Animal Aid Unlimited. It's a nonprofit organization foundation that is very close to my heart. They help animals that are on the street that are hurt. They fix them, they put them healthy again, and they put them back in the streets again in a very healthy condition where people can take care of them. Erika, I know you are super busy. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me. I am so pleased. How are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and I'm really good. Thank you.
Awesome.
And thanks for giving me an opportunity to share stuff, because I love to do that.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thank you so much. So before we get started, I wanted to ask the viewers if you can grab one thing, one lesson that they can learn from these, apply it in your business, apply it in your life. This is not a business call. This is a heart call. This call calls from my heart. And if you like it, if you love what you're listening, subscribe below, share it, comment. Erika, tell me in a minute, if you can, tell me a little bit about you, about Animal Aid Unlimited, and why are you in India? You're from Canada, right?
From Seattle, actually. Okay. I'm American.
Okay.
So the reason that Animal Aid started was that we were already very enthusiastic travelers and tourists in India, and we had a very young child at the time. It was in 1993, 1994. Claire, my daughter, is now she's almost 30, but at the time she hated the traveling part. She liked to just be somewhere. And so when we got to the town where we live now, Udaipur, it's in the state of Rajasthan in India, she was 5 years old, and she started to make friends on the street, and it was such a safe environment. And we loved the culture, we liked the language, we loved the clothes, the fashion, the traditions of India. We liked the religions. I mean, there's just, we were like those hippie travelers that just love Indian stuff. And I've never really changed from that. But it was only in the course that we were it was so expensive to live in Seattle. And Jim is 15 years older than me. So at that time I was in my later 30s. And so now I'm 62. And we gradually, everything was kind of incremental. And that's going to be the subject of my pep talk for entrepreneurs is something about that. But we slowly and gradually started to spend more time here. And that's when we learned that the street animals had nothing in this area, no medical support for when they fell ill. So we started in the smallest imaginable way, just helping puppies around our house and bringing and trying to just examine, investigate, like, there must be a vet. There are government vets that help cows. Surely they can be helpful with dogs, but they really didn't have much training at all about dogs, and they had no incentive. There's no government, there's really no government structure for the street animals. It's all oriented toward more into milk production and support of farmers. So with fear, I think, some degree of fear, but also hope, we said, okay, it looks like we've looked all over the place for somebody other than us to do this, and we couldn't find anybody, and we said, let's us start something, however small it's going to be. And so I made lots of phone calls, and the Humane Society of the United States was extremely helpful to us, and just giving me courage, I think, and saying, you can start something really small. Do you have enough money to afford a vet? We didn't even have kennels. We didn't have an operating theater, but we were lucky I was very lucky to talk to a really responsive person in HSUS who said, you don't be afraid to start. And so by hiring a vet, and it was so much, it's 10 times cheaper or 20 times cheaper in some things in India. So we were able to just, with our own money, just our own savings, spending in the early days between maybe $500 and $1,000 a month, we were actually able to start a small organization and hire our first people and began to learn. And
That's
that was
awesome.
the beginning.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So where is Animal Aid Unlimited today as an organization? As a what are you guys doing today?
So that question is exciting to me to answer because it changes all the time. In that it's been a pretty steady trajectory of growth in both number of animals we've served, number of staff we have, number of volunteers who come. So I'll give you a picture of just comparing. 18 years ago, when we started in 2000, we had like 2 staff, and then 3, then 5. And we had 15 animals, let's say 15 dogs. We didn't have large animals in the beginning, and we really made many mistakes. I have my husband nor me have any medical training, and I don't think we have a great skill there. We're communicators, but we're not science oriented. But we had the imagination, and I think sense of professionalism to be good talent seekers, and so I think we've had some incredible, lovely people that have joined us along the way, and many are still with us now. So today we have a staff of about 80, and they're mostly Indian, and yeah, it's quite big. We our operating expenses every month are $40,000 US. We treat about 600 animals a day. It's a massive, we have 4 ambulances that are bringing newly injured or ill animals in every day. And we have, for the city size, which is about 500,000, we have around 50 to 70 rescue requests a day, which is the highest per capita response in India, I think. I don't. There are very few shelters that have this kind of. Ooh, sorry.
It's okay.
I thought that have this kind of capacity to respond to rescue requests, and so that has awakened a kind of compassion in the community, I think, because I think if there's nothing you can do, it's almost impossible for a layperson to catch an injured street dog who is in pain and afraid, and you're alone, or you have one person with you and you have no experience handling animals. It's extremely difficult to help. And if you don't have some kind of an infrastructure or some kind of mechanism, and there are heroic people throughout India that do try on their own, but it's really hard. And I think if you can't help and you get accustomed to having to turn away when you see an injured animal because there is no number to call, there is no hospital, shelter, rescue center, you probably become desensitized to a certain extent. But here, because we have such a super great organization, I think more and more people are keeping their eyes open, and they're looking, and their feelings are coming out. And the video, I don't know if any of the viewers are watching this, but Animal Aid Unlimited has a really active rescue channel on YouTube that highlights happy ending stories about animals that have been rescued. And those have an astonishing popularity. Like, I'm not exaggerating, between YouTube and Facebook, more than 1 billion views over just the last 3 years. And those have, because of a huge percentage of the people watching them are Indians, and they love dogs and they love animals. There's so many positive comments, and that has been an education to me. I knew that there were, of course, many people in India, as everywhere, that love animals, but the volume of interactions that we're having is exciting. And so I'm very optimistic about the animal protection movement around the world and the role that India is playing in it.
I love it. I love it. I just wanted to share my little story, why I came to Animal Aid Unlimited. I already shared it with you before this call, before I started recording, but I wanted to share it with the viewers. Basically, my family has always been very loving. In Colombia, we always had pets and animals. And when we came to this country, before I met my wife, she had her dog with her family. I had my dog with my family. But her dog was the little brother's dog birthday gift. So they moved to Colombia, and my wife was the one at the moment, girlfriend. She was the one feeding him and putting him to sleep and sleeping with him and everything else. So when they moved to Colombia, she's like, I miss my Simon, I miss my little dog. So we went out to a shelter here in South Florida, and it was devastating how there were so many animals, so many pets that needed a home, and everybody's buying pets from a pet store. It was crazy. So that was very touching. We ended up grabbing Brownie. We ended up rescuing a little Brownie, a little Chihuahua, brown little dog, and we stayed with him for about 12 years. He's now in rest. But the lessons that I learned from that little dog, he was so humble all the time, so educated, so loving, so passionate about being with us, just staying with us. And see, he was so happy every time he saw me that I became even a more dog lover. And why not help these animals? I know there's a million foundations out there: autism, cancer, babies, veterans, so many important foundations out there. And I highly encourage anybody that is in business to just grab one and donate a month. I mean, it's $20, it's $50, it's $100. Anything helps, because what I've done with Animal Aid Unlimited is I donate, but every time some money goes out to Animal Aid Unlimited, I feel so good. I feel good that
I want to give a plug. I want to give a plug for you, because I think that it blew my mind when I saw how young you were, because you've been donating. I'm going to tell your listeners, because it's a fabulous amount, $50 every single month for every month since early 2016. It's added up to being a couple $1,000, and seriously, it stretches like 10 to 20 times more. So imagine it. Really, it's like $30,000 in actual buying power that you have given, and the number of lives you personally can enjoy loving, knowing that you have saved it's actually hundreds. And I love this inspirational story about Brownie and Simon, that it's always terms, and it's so sweet to when I think almost all of us, and myself included, like behind the big things that we do, there's a little face back there, maybe many of them, but that was our little guardian angels that put us on the path. And I love to hear your story. And I think what a legacy of love that is, that you've turned around, and animals you've never even met before are, I just could cry, like you're in their heart. And I believe that completely. I think the animals know. I just think your goodness, you personally, and I really am talking to you, is something that is lighting up the lives of so many animals and so many people too. Your compassion is not limited to Animal Aid Unlimited. I know that doing something nice for others, it changes our whole worlds, and it changes. You're probably an inspiration of compassion wherever you go. I know that this does not exist in a bubble, that like, oh, you're hard-nosed business person in every other aspect, but then there's this tiny little light. It doesn't work that way. You're probably super nice everywhere.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I wanted to share, I've shared many times, one of the great books that I've read is called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And the book talks about you being in business has nothing to do with you making money. It's about the purpose. It's about the why. Why are you in business? How many people are you helping by selling your product, your service, or by donating? So I wanted to have a quick invitation for anybody that is listening. Go to their YouTube channel, Animal Aid Unlimited, or their Facebook channel, Animal Aid Unlimited, or their website, animalaidunlimited.org. Donate something. It can be a one-time thing. I'm putting the link below to the entire conversation, so it's there. They're seeing it. But go in there, donate a one-time $10 or a monthly $10, $20, because it really stretches. And like you're saying, the money in India, it just helps so many more animals because of the conversion rate, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, there's some things in India that are not a lot less expensive, but medicine and food both are. So that's most of our expenses is going toward medicine and food. And I mean, even staff salaries, it would astonish you to know how little with 80, it adds up for sure. But I mean, a living wage in this area of India is about, I would say, for a family of two, that's where only one's working, and maybe they live in it's 15,000 rupees, which is about 25. 15,000 rupees. I'm saying a month, and it turns out to be like $300, basically, and you know, it just you can hardly live for a couple of days on that in Florida, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes it possible to do very big things, because the Indians are also donating a lot, mind you. They're extremely generous. But 70% of our funding comes from people outside India, and it's the power of $10, like you're saying, is significant there. So it allows small people. I mean, my husband and I are very middle class, and we're only donors. We're retired from our working lives and have always maintained that status kind of very deliberately. And Claire doesn't take any salary from Animal Aid either, because we can afford to, just on our pensions, just on our Social Security, and we live modestly. We don't need very much stuff for ourselves. We don't travel unless it's animal related now. So it's so fabulous to be able to have like a creative life that actually, where you're a philanthropist. I never had the idea, and I never was generous. And I never was until I really started to feel like what you know at such an incredibly young age. It feels great to give.
Absolutely.
And you become so invested in, like, well, how's my money working? Is it being wasted? Is it being smartly spent? Is it doing what I want it to do? And it's a kick to get involved in helping somebody. It's like, that's, I think, the message that I have learned and want to share, of just like, I had no idea how much fun awaited until I started to really get into helping animals. And I'm sure it would be true for any charity, any vulnerable population, any vulnerable plants, trees, lakes, whatever you give to that can't help itself, you're going to be the biggest beneficiary, because it feels so awesome to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, I want to invite anybody that wants to go to animalaidunlimited.org. Please, and it's so much fun when I donate just $50 and you come back with an email every single time. It's so awesome. I look forward to those emails. Every single time I donate just $50, you come back with a nice long email explaining what's going on, how many animals you saved. And those YouTube videos, they're 2-3 minutes, but they're awesome. How you're getting dogs out of the water, and animals that have been hurt by a car accident, and there's rats eating the little animals, and I don't even know how to explain these things, but how you.
Well, to be sure that your audience knows, though, I want to just say, don't be afraid of these dramatic beginnings, and they're sometimes pretty shocking. It's always happy endings, so have confidence, like you do, that we're not going to make a video unless it's a super happy animal.
I was going to go there. Obviously, my next question would be, how can viewers get in contact with you? But I've shared your social media and the YouTube channel. Just one little lesson that I wanted to ask you, if you can give the viewers, so they can learn something from these other than giving. What was your biggest obstacle creating these enterprise, creating these big company now, a non-profit organization?
Okay.
What was your biggest obstacle?
I love your questions. I think that the biggest obstacle was my desire and impatience to move forward faster than I had the means, the resources to do. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the kinds of people that we wanted to have around us to help, and the understanding the laws and the mechanics of how you actually do help animals. What facilities do you really need at a minimum, and how can you gradually, incrementally grow? So I think the obstacle, I don't know what to call it an obstacle, but the challenge for me has been to learn how to pace myself so that I don't get bummed out that things sometimes are 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You have to keep showing up, keep trying, do what little bit you can, and not get too lost in expecting a particular result at a particular time, because it often doesn't work like that. I mean, lucky when you did predict it right and you did visualize how it was going to go. But when you really love the cause and you really get into the personal relationships with the animals, I think what I learned is that whether it goes fast as you want to or not, you're going to come back the next hour and the next minute, because it's like if there's a hurricane, you don't stop sandbagging just because you don't get like discouraged and say in Florida, well, there's a storm, I give up. You feel you have no choice, and when you look at how people rebuild the whole city, and you think you shrink it down to what your Uncle Joe did and how his roof blew off and all of his photos got destroyed and he lost tons of stuff. But every day you do a little bit to clean up your yard, and pretty soon, if you put that in fast motion, it looks like, oh my God, he completely restored his life, and so that's, I think my takeaway is that little things add up, and don't be afraid to go at the best pace you can and feel good at night when you go to sleep. Don't feel guilty that you didn't do more. If you did more or less as good as you could on that day, given your circumstances and your, our tragedies are usually not between good and bad things. It's that we have many good things pulling at us all the time, and we have to choose. So that how much we can give to one or another cause, or ourselves, our entertainment, our love life, that changes at every day and every stage of life. But just remember that those little things are going to add up, and starting small is pretty much the only way to start, and enjoy it.
I love it. What an inspiration. Just one step at a time, do what you love, and just help others. We're in this life to help others. That was amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I know I promised you 10 to 15 minutes. It was a little bit longer than that, but that's okay with me. That's okay with our viewers. I hope it was okay with you. Thank you for sharing your story, your why, the reason why you're doing this, and keep rocking and rolling. I mean, this is a beautiful organization that you have. Keep sharing those videos because they truly inspire. You share that there's almost 1 billion people, 1 billion views between your YouTube and your Facebook accounts. I am definitely one of them that looks at every single one of them when they come out. So I'm probably a little count of those. And again, I'm inviting other people to go on their social media, Animal Aid Unlimited on YouTube and Facebook, and animalaidunlimited.org. Help these beautiful lady out and these beautiful organization in India.
And Camilo, before we go, I want to say I think your Street Smart Club and your whole this whole project of yours to communicate like this is really fun and really cool. And I want to wish you every success. And I feel like the animals, people too, but my focus right now, the animals are so lucky to have you in the world. And I cannot thank you enough. You're a beautiful person inside and out now that I see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope we can do this again soon. I loved it.
I hope so too. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. You have a great
rest of the day.
Okay. You too. Bye for now.